Hello, my friends, and welcome to the next episode in our Surface Pro 6 gaming series with the new Borderlands 3, presumably at least, coming out soon, only for Epic. We'll get into that another time. It's definitely time to go ahead and take a look and see how the whole Borderlands series began. Well, we've already started our new characters in Borderlands 2 collectively. It really seemed appropriate to go ahead and start this game up, Borderlands, the star of today's show. Since it was released in 2009, it falls right into our 10-year rule, and with its cell shading, it seems like it would be a perfect fit for the Surface Pro screen and its resolution size, even if we have to do just the 720, and you'll see how that's coming along here shortly. This game is still very good looking. I remember playing it on the 360, and that machine was able to run it, but not at the frame rates that we're seeing here in the 30s and 40s. As you can see, I'm still getting used to the SteelSeries controller as well, so bear with me as I kind of go the wrong direction sometimes. But definitely a gorgeous game, and running really nicely, even under load, which is the recording that we're doing right now. So now we take a look at our resolution and our settings for our Surface Pro 6 in our Dell example. We're looking at 1080p on the Dell and 720p on the Surface Pro with everything literally maxed out, including the frame rates at 62. With VSync, I couldn't get it any higher, 120 hertz. 51 frames per second average for the Surface Pro is not too shabby, especially where the settings we have are at, especially with the high quality. So something really weird happened. Now, I normally record everything with the Windows included DVR functionality is what they call it from the Windows G key. And you can see here while I'm running that, 62 frames per second, like literally tapped out. This is on the Dell, as you can see in the lower left-hand side, trying to make that a little easier to see the differences between the two. But you can see it was really janky. So I went to recording in Fraps to try to make it as even as possible. I did record from Fraps in 30 frames per second, so it is literally capped at 30 frames per second. That's what you're seeing here. Very constant and consistent, may I add. That all being said, we're taking a look and seeing how the detail on it is so much greater just because of the fact that the higher resolution is able to run and the anti-aliasing affecting everything else around it. The colors pop just a little bit more. Obviously, the smoothness of everything running even at 30 frames per second is very noticeable when you're taking a look at this whole entire endeavor here. The smoothness of the movement, even of the gun while you're moving and aiming. This is what even a low-level gaming machine can give you on a game that, we're still kind of working around a little bit to do on a portable device. But remember, my laptop almost never moves from its spot. It's more like a desktop replacement, and most people's gaming rigs are like that up until recently anyway. But then again, I'm not spending $1,500 or $1,600 for that. And even in that case, me personally, I wouldn't be bringing my gaming laptop anywhere but, traveling or going someplace for a relatively extended period of time. It wouldn't be a daily traveler for me, even in a smaller format. It's just not what I need when I travel. That being said, we're going back to the Surface Pro 6 here. You can kind of take a look and see the differences now, kind of just quickly going back and forth. Everything looks slightly muddier, and some of it is because of the definitely different resolutions that are being set here or sent here, and so you can see a lot less detail even if the settings are set too high. The problem that I was having is trying to run it at even 1440 by 900 was a difficulty. It really started to lag out. There were a lot of dropped frames. There was a lot of difficulty even trying to make it run at all. In a workable manner from the very beginning, when there's no enemies, no artifacts, no action of any kind. You're literally standing there and looking at the big welcome door or window or sign. You could definitely see that I was not going to be able to get much better than 720p in this game. Not to fret at all. This is literally the exact same resolution as the 360 pushed out. Might have upscaled on a television. Cool. Good deal. Not really necessary here, but really not losing much. And of course, the detail, I would say, is still better than the older 360 version when this game first came out. Now, obviously, we're kind of just running around here getting the job done, so to speak, getting the early game out of the way, trying to give a direct comparison between machines. This is not exactly super actiony, but we are going to go ahead and take a look at some of those scenes and kind of see what happens to the frames, at least while it's recording. Now, while it's not recording, you saw the average was 51, give or take 50.968, I think was the exact number. So I rounded it off to 50.9, and I figured that was close enough. But 51 frames a second was the average, including this run here, when I went back and did it without the recording. So even where you see the frames drop here, part of that is due to the recording and the additional detail on the screen itself. Still a very smooth play here. Still staying well above 30 frames even while we're recording, and definitely very good detail. Remembering, if you're watching this on a very large screen, 27, 29 inches, this is a resolution you're playing on something that's 12 inches, give or take. So a lot different in terms of what you're going to see and what your experience is going to be when you play the game up close and personal on a device like a Surface Pro or even an Ultrabook, what they used to call Ultrabooks. Now it's just a notebook. That being said, if you can find one even in this range and you're willing to carry the notebook, you can always look for one definitely in this range with this kind of power. And these days, with the drop in power requirements of the newest mobile chips, you can actually find them for a good price that doesn't require a lot of heft, so you can still find them relatively small and relatively svelte, so to speak. Still not a tablet. Those tablets are still quite expensive to carry around, and most of them will have a fan, remembering that one of the things that was important to me was not having a fan in my tablet. It does get toasty when you're playing this game on this level, and I do definitely suggest anytime you're playing any type of game, no matter the age of the game, I've definitely put my performance up to the highest level on your battery life before getting started, just to maximize what you're able to run with the game. Otherwise, you will start to see a lot more stutter. That all being said, well, let's go ahead and take a look at our little home here. Just killing the dogs. It's not Skeeter. Who's that? I should have gone over to him. He's the blind guy. Crazy blind guy on the porch. Definitely taking a look still at the Surface Pro. Definitely wanted to give a lot of screen time to this device because it really does play this game very, very nicely. I did not do any onlining, of course. Not even sure if there is any onlining in this game, to be honest with you. I always played this as a... Oh, yeah, of course there is. It's a multiplayer extravaganza. It's co-op. I played it a lot as co-op, but it's so much fun. We just have people run up and down the hills and level up. They fixed that in this game, of course, but yeah, that was the cheater way back in the day, to go ahead and get your guys leveled up so they would all meet and greet you at the same level. So you can totally see here I have a lot to get used to in terms of my new controller. The button and action is so smooth, though, I can't go back now. So there's all of that. I love this game, and I love the whole entire series. And as we go home in the sunset, thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like it, please do your thing, but go ahead and comment so we know what we need to do going forward and making it better. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you the next time with probably like Left 4 Dead or maybe even Borderlands 2. Bye.